I apologise for any noises that come out from outside. I got the window open for obvious reasons. I was talking yesterday, last time I was recording, what was that, 2 days ago? It was on Thursday, it's Saturday now, right? So I'm really confused right now. The weed hasn't even hit me yet. Right, we're on Tampa. View goals. Right, cool. We're good. Like I said, I'm just going to take my time, go from mission to mission, have a little chit chat. But like last time I was multitasking, right? Playing the game and talking, right? Now I'm triple. Multitasking, right? But now instead of doing two things, I'm doing three things now. I'm playing the game, talking, trying to be coherent. I'm smoking a little doobie. So, yeah, find ourselves a mission. I'll do a bit of talking. So I've got Marcus in the gym and all that, and I've been just basically giving him a backlog of all the stuff I've been like getting into. That's a bit suspect. And just telling him what I've been up to and all the shit I'd been reading and talking about the podcast, this, that, and the other. He'd been telling me what he'd been up to. He didn't go into too much details because I know he's had a rough time, bless him, but he seems to be doing well. And, I'm always happy to be in his company because he's open-minded. He's a good bloke. I was talking to him about the simulation theory, and he was baffled. He was like, well, tell me more. So I started telling him about this book I've been reading. I can never remember the author's name. It's a weird name. I'll say it next time on the next episode. Right? That's to learn a trick. I don't want to worry about that just now. And yeah, so it's called The Simulation Hypothesis. I read it for a podcast I'd done on the Save Room back in, I want to say April or May. And it was probably the longest episode we'd ever recorded. I mean, on Spotify alone, it goes on for about 2.5 hours. It was a great episode. It's one of my favourite ones I'd ever done with my good friend Sean. And it's basically, it is what it says. I don't know what's going on, so I'm just going to click the first goal I see. Did I not save the game from last time? Oh no, so I remember now. You got to do a bunch of shit before you can progress onto the next level, something like that. I don't know what's going on. You know what? I'm probably gonna have to do the same shit as last time. So I apologise, but at least I got new shit to talk about. Alright, we're good. I might have accidentally forgot to save the game, so whoops. Well, you live and you learn, don't you? I'm not gonna make that mistake again. I'll tell you that much. And if I do, I'm a fucking idiot. Alright, next one. This is on easy mode, by the way. So the simulation hypothesis is that, like I said, it is what it says on the tin. You know what I mean? It's the idea that we actually live in the Matrix, or simulation of some sorts. And at first I was a bit like, didn't really think much of it. I thought, that's a cool little hypothesis. But when I read the book, I'm not joking, I actually started to be a little bit convinced. And kind of pushed by a man by the name of Nick Bostrom. Scandinavian. I want to say he's Swedish, right? He'd been on the Joe Rogan podcast and said some things, and I thought, you know what, he's really interested in what he's saying. It was really relevant to what I was writing at the time. So I thought to myself, right, if this man's got a book, I'm going to read it. And so that's what happens. Like, what am I doing? There's a handbag up here, and oh, there it is, right. So I thought, if this man's got a book, I'm going to read it. And I couldn't find anything. But this other book popped up by, I want to say Rick, I can't remember the name. It's a foreign name, that's why I don't remember it. I'm terrible for remembering foreign names. And this man quotes Nick Bostrom quite a lot. So one of the things he's saying is the idea of what's known as the ancestor simulation. Now this is absolutely baffling. He goes on some tangent about quantum physics. This idea of what's called quantum indeterminacy. So that, this is a bit dense. Let me just smoke a bit more of this joint and I'll elaborate. So quantum indeterminacy in layman's terms, as best I can understand it anyway, because I'm no physicist myself. I never went to university or nothing like that. I just read shit and try and remember it as best I can. That's basically my only, the only thing I've got going for me in life is that I've got a very good memory. And the sad thing is that we don't get to keep anything in this life. My memory, at my younger age, I ain't going to get to keep that. I'm going to get old and get fucking senile and forget everything. So, anyway, it's getting a bit morbid. My apologies. But So quantum indeterminacy is that when you try and measure, is it what, an electron? They do that whole double slit experiment thing. The very act of trying to measure it changes its position or whatever. I want to say an electron or photon, anyway, whatever. Those are all the things I know. So that in itself is called quantum indeterminacy. It falls into that whole little activity called Schrödinger's cat. You know, there's a cat inside the box. Is the cat alive or dead? That's what Schrödinger said. And let's wait for this car to pass 1 second. I'm not going to edit this out because I like to keep it nice and fluid. So Schrödinger said, right, there's a cat in the box. Is it alive or dead? And the thing is both, based on the rules of physics when it gets down to the quantum level. And Nick Bostrom starts to use that as the basis for what he calls the ancestor simulation, right? Plays into a thing known as retrocausation. So the past and the future are influencing each other simultaneously. It gets really deep, so I'm not going to go too into it, but that's just basically the gist of it. So the idea could be that we're like some sort of fifth dimensional beings, and we have no connection to our origin story. So we've created a simulation to replicate our origins so that we can figure out how we got to the point that we're at now. It sounds really fucking wacky, man, but I think it's awesome. If that's a thing, I added that little bit on at the end, but how cool would that be? You know, kind of like got me thinking back to that film Interstellar. Matthew McConaughey goes into the black hole, ends up in like this tesseract, and this. But this idea has been played out many, many times. You know, you look at the Truman Show from 1998. It's the same premise. It's like this kid played by Jim Carrey. Can't remember his name. Like something Truman. And, you know, he was the first kid to ever be adopted by a private corporation. They use him to be in a reality TV show. He thinks his whole world is real. He lives in this very basically utopian town, beach town. And everything around him is just fake. His best friend's fake. His wife's fake. It's all full of product placements and this, that. It's all been overrun by a character played by Ed Harris. He's a great actor and all. And eventually Truman catches wind of all this, puts 2 and 2 together, and he's like, hang on a minute, my whole life's shit. And there's people on the outside trying to reach out to him to tell him, look, I'll be sure to save it next time, I assure you. Anyway. Sorry, bear with me, I'm fucking stoned. Yeah, and then you've got The Matrix, which I went on a long ass tangent about on the last episode, so I'm not going to retread that. And the 13th Floor. So the thing about the 13th Floor is it came out about 2 months after the fucking Little Yobs, man. That's just my old age showing, innit? Becoming cynical towards the younger generation. It's like, look, I was young too, you know? Who am I to judge? When I was 14 years of age, I had sweaty hair, smelled BO, and wore bell bottoms. You know what I mean? Who am I to judge? Anyway. Hit this killer spot. We good? Yeah, nice. Yeah, so the 13th Floor. Film the local, that's an easy mission. Let's do it. Right, I'm going to stop smoking that weed, because my head's spinning. Yeah, 13th Floor. So, it came out about 2 months after The Matrix had come out, and no one gave a shit. So, no one watched it, and it was a bit of a box office bomb, but the story is absolutely captivating and incredible. You know, it's got a few weak points here and there, but if you can overlook that and just focus on the parts of the film that actually work, it's tremendous. You know, it kind of does what it took The Matrix 3 movies to do. The 13th Floor does it in one movie. This whole idea of determinism and a simulation within a simulation is absolutely brilliant. And, you know, that had an influence on me. You know, when I watched it 10, 11 years ago, it planted a seed in my brain. So to this day, the things that I believe in, the things that I entertain in my brain are a result of this movie and many others like it, like The Truman Show. Funny thing was is that film was... where the fuck am I going? You know, the 8th billionth person on this planet was born about 3 or 4 months ago. I think it was in Singapore. It was somewhere down there. And 8 billion people. You get all these like environmentalists, you know, left-wing wankers that are like, oh, there's plenty of land. We just all live in urbanized environments. I'm like, look, I'm not saying there's too many people for the earth. There's just too many people for us. You know what I mean? So people are like, oh, the World Economic Forum's trying to depopulate the world. I'm like, fucking good. Well, you could be part of that person, people that get killed. I'm like, so be it. So be it. I'm sick and tired of all this traffic. You know what I mean? It's most of people's lives these days is just being in traffic. For what? You want to be enlightened? Don't be in traffic. All eating a shit sandwich. Been going around in circles. This is, oh, here we go. We're good. So sometimes I fall into these loopholes. This is why I'm not a gamer, right? I'll get stoned, right? And then I'll just be going around in circles. I like to play games where you can just go around in circles. Hitman being one of them. You don't have to, you know, there's a mission. There's a beginning and an end, but not when I'm playing it because I'm just walking around in circles. But anyway, so we'll doing a bit of backtracking here, which I don't really mind. You know what I mean? It's content at the end of the day. But I tell you what, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was like dreams, because I've been having some weird dreams recently. Dreams come to me. My dreams are more crazy. Not when I'm actually sleeping, because well, I'll just fucking threw a spanner in the works on my plan here. Especially in the winter, I'm terrible for it. The cold demotivates me. I am starting to lose my shit here a little bit. Come on. Yes, right. Okay, I'm better now. But like, because of the winter and because of the cold, I just lose motivation sometimes, and you just want to get back in bed and curl up. And it's like, you got to be careful. That's a slippery slope. That's the early signs of depression right there, my friend. But no, I've been keeping motivated. You know what I mean? I'm doing the right thing. Sometimes in life, you just have to plow through it, because there's places that you want to be, and there's places you don't want to be, and it's different from person to person. And for me, it's like, well, I know where I want to be in life. And sometimes I think I'm my own worst enemy, because what I tend to do is I put so much pressure on myself, because I'm like, right, I'm this age right now, and this is what age I'm going to be, and I'm getting closer to such and such an age, and suddenly I put this insane amount of pressure on myself to want to succeed and forget to actually, you know, be happy. So that's what I've been doing. I've been focusing on, like, actually, man, I want to be happy. I don't care about any of that shit, all the aspirations and what the ego wants. I just want to be fucking happy. Obviously. You know, so anyway, sometimes I'll have these little power naps in the afternoon. You sleep for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and that's when I get the most crazy dreams. They always say, if you want a lucid dream, the best time to do it is when you've already had like your night's sleep. You go back to sleep, you're more likely to remember your dreams. It's weird stuff. My phone's buzzing away, man. I'll put that on Do Not Disturb, so if someone dies, I ain't got to fucking find out until I stop recording. And yeah, I had a dream recently that I was an X-Men. I was a Nightcrawler. He's my favourite X-Men, so why not? I'm going to be an X-Men, I'm going to be Nightcrawler. Get to teleport and that. I know he's kind of like limited to like 2 miles, but in some of the comics, he managed to go a little bit further. At one point, he went 50 miles. Why the fuck am I talking about Nightcrawler? So, yeah, the thing about dreams, so I was fascinated by it. So, I didn't read any book in particular about it. I just read articles on the internet. And again, this was for the podcast I was doing with my mate Sean. I thought, oh, you know what? Let's talk about dreams. And he said, fucking why not? That's what's good about him. He's just very easygoing. He's willing to talk about anything. That's why I value him as a friend. So, yeah, so I did some research. Actually, funny thing is that he broke his hand. But that's not the funny part. That was actually quite sad for both of us. So I took him to A&E, gets his hand all like casted up and stuff. And while I'm waiting for him, I'm just sat in the car reading up about dreams and stuff. So the way the brain is that the frontal, what's known as the frontal lobe, is responsible for self-awareness, reason, and logic. That's why whenever you're dreaming, and no matter how batshit crazy that dream is, we never seem to question the nature of that dream. We'll just say to ourselves, "Oh, that's fucking normal. Better run." We never think, "Hang on a minute, what's going on?" That's because there's less going on in the prefrontal lobe, and there's more going on in what's called the amygdala and hippocampus, which is responsible for a lot of our emotions and what's known as implicit memory. You know, implicit memory is a funny one, right? So you have explicit and implicit memory. And explicit memory is things that are essentially, So explicit memory is things that you can remember consciously. There's sort of a relationship with time when it involves memories that are implicit. And I knew it was too good to be fucking true. I was like, "Oh, I'm doing great. Maybe I'm a different man." I was like, no, you still suck, mate. This is ridiculous. Don't blame the weed. Don't blame the weed. Didn't count. Wasn't the taxi, was it? So explicit memory is things that you can kind of remember consciously, whereas implicit things don't necessarily have a narrative tied to it. Implicit memory is when you'll smell something that you haven't smelled in a long time, and it evokes a memory from God knows when. Could be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever, right? It's happened to me in the past before I even knew what implicit memory was. I'd get like a whiff of like one of those scent sticks. You know, the ones that you don't need to light. They just sit in a jar in some like liquids or whatever. And suddenly I'm like, boom, 2012, whatever, 2013, you name the year. And so that's what a lot of brain activity is occurring in that area of the brain. And yeah, that's where a lot of the dreams are coming from. You know, it's a sort of merger between short-term and long-term memory. That's another thing I read up about. And it's mental, isn't it? Because when you think about dreams, you think of it from a computer perspective, right? You've got all this CPU, all this, all this memory focused on trying to create this illusion that is this dream that you're experiencing. And you know, sometimes like when you're trying to run away from something in a nightmare, you can't run fast enough. You feel like your legs just won't move. You're like running through cement, or you're running through sand, and you think to yourself, "Oh fuck, I can't get away. I'm gonna die." Whatever it is you're running from, and that's because apparently the brain is trying to render the dream in real time. It's fucking bizarre. And sometimes you get dreams that seem to go on for weeks, and you wake up and you've been asleep for 7 hours. You think, "Holy shit." What's even crazier is that we actually dream multiple times throughout the night. I'm going to do some of my skateboard. I might as well. No, I'm going to keep the one that Chad Musker gave me, you know what I mean? Change the wheels to black. I don't know why. It makes me happy. Oh, that's black enough. Done. Do you ever get those dreams where like you can sort of fly, and then you can't fly? There's that doubt starts creeping in. But then you get those other dreams where you're scared and you rise above it and you think, "No, I'm gonna take a stand." I love those dreams, like those proper redemption dreams. Where you think, hang on, you wake up almost like a changed human being. You know, another crazy one is when like you're going through a breakup and you dream about them, and it, like, because you're just going through the motions of the relationship ending. And you're just kind of being, you know, you're using that logical part of your brain, the one that's responsible for reason, and you think, look, we weren't happy, it had to happen, etc., right? But that other part of your brain, the childlike part of your brain, what do they call it? The child ego state, the inner child, if you will, where it can't rationalize all the things that you're saying to yourself about it not being the right relationship and this, that, and the other. Instead, you just miss the things that were the beautiful parts of the relationship, whether it be like just a moment where you were laughing your asses off. You both shared that laughter, and it's like, holy shit, we're never going to experience that again. That's rough, you know. That can hit hard. And if you have those dreams not long after the breakup, yeah, it's gonna fuck you up. I know it did with me in the past, whoever it be, you know. And but then you have those dreams later on where you kind of reconcile. with the past, and you just wake up like, all right, I'm ready to move on with my life. It's interesting, isn't it? You go through that depression phase. You go through that phase of kind of having loss of motivation, loss of identity. You think, right, who am I without this person? And I think that's an important thing that we all kind of had to go through, to humble ourselves. That's why I was saying last time, the gym's important for me, because it's not about aesthetics. It's about stripping away every other thing that your ego builds around you, this sort of veneer of bullshit that we build around ourselves every day, that we lie to ourselves about. And you go to the gym, or you do something that's that exhausts you so much that all of that goes away, and you just kind of have like 20-30 minutes of absolute clarity, where you're not high, you're not wired, you're just in the moment, you're in the now, you're in a state of no mind. And I think that's important that we all go through that. That's why meditation's good. I mean, I won't lie, I've struggled with meditation in the past, but there've been moments when I've like really committed to it, and I've been meditating, and you do achieve that state of no mind where you're not thinking about nothing. Maybe you're just focusing on your breathing or a candle or whatever it is, but you're not thinking anything. Your conscious mind is unplugged temporarily, and it's hard to maintain that. But when you achieve it, you just you suddenly start getting this other perspective that is beyond you. It's what the Buddhists call the higher self, and regardless of what your religion or what your beliefs are, fucking goddamn it. So you achieve the state of no mind, and you get this higher perspective, and like I said, no matter what your religion is, no matter what you believe in, it all derives from a very similar concept, if not that it's shared amongst themselves, just from different interpretations through different law, but it's essentially the same message. Oh, what's this next mission? I'll get the decks, right? I thought I was just fucking going around in circles again. I haven't smoked that joint for a little while, so I'm alright, I'm safe, I'm gonna make it. But I just got to kind of focus on the mission at hand here. Alright, here we go, down here. You little rapscallion. Stealing skateboards, mate. That's not on, mate. And yeah, so going back to dreams, there's all these different interpretations throughout time, and even really now, we can explain the brain activity, what the brain, the patterns of the brain, and what parts are fired up and what parts aren't working like they normally would. We've kind of figured that part out in the neuroscience perspective, and to a degree, we kind of have an understanding of the psychology of it. But again, it's really kind of speculative for the most part. But regardless of it being speculation or not, if it helps you better understand your view of the world, then fucking more power to you. Because it's not are there such things as objective truth? Yeah, sure, but yes and no. Again, going back to that whole quantum indeterminacy thing, it goes to show that there is no objective world, but it's a subjective objective. The observation changes is fucking anyway, whatever. Let's get this little prick. Alright, the third one. It's down here somewhere, innit? Find this last little... There we go. Right, move on. I was getting scared there. I was like, hang on a minute, this is I'm going into overtime here. Alright, score 15,000. Let's do it. Sound. Alright, so next level now. Alright, so another crazy thing about this whole simulation theory thing, right? At the beginning of the book, it says, to make its point, when it's kind of building up all the different pointers here and there to lead up to its argument, it will say that the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second, which is mind-boggling. That's 600 million. I want to say 650 million miles per hour. It's saying the reason why nothing can go faster than that is because that's as far as the universe can render itself. Kind of like what I was saying earlier on about the dreams. There's only so fast that the thing can render itself before it kind of gets all fuzzy looking. Why I remember how fast the speed of light is, I have fucking no idea, but I'm going to save this game. I didn't forget that much. There we go, we're back on track. This is where we should have been. So that's 30 minutes. Just, we said some cool shit, whatever. It is what it is. There are no rules. I try to be. I can't really be that guy that just talks along with the game, talking about the game. Like I said a little bit here and there. But it's funny as well because like the phases in my life that I've gone through, where I wouldn't necessarily that it wasn't that I was lonely, but what would happen is that I'll be in certain moments in my life where I wasn't happy, and because of that unhappiness, I'd become less motivated to want to interact with my friends. I had this office job one time. Trying to say okay, and yeah, it was bumming me out, and it was pretty heavy going. I was speaking French for this retail company, and I only really half spoke the language. I got good at it, don't get me wrong, but I was getting stoned every night, and I just wasn't happy. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world, but that type of work is just not for me. It's very static, and there's a lot of bureaucracy. And when I was 24, I was awake to the bullshit, but I didn't really understand it, and I didn't really know where my position was in all of it. But one thing leads to another. There's no regrets, because that led me to going to France and doing what I did after that, writing my book and figuring out my shit. But the reason why I spoke about that in the first place is because what was I talking about? Something about friends, or lack thereof. I'm lost. My apologies. There you go. Well, last night I watched a film called Vice. You'd think I'd have this shit written down. I don't. I just there's a list in my brain. I'm going for hours. I just want to make sure that I finish my points, you know what I mean? Did I get that right? No, I didn't. Playing this on normal mode was it doesn't need to be a combo. Okay. Nice one. Oh, that was easy. Yeah, so I watched a film last night called Vice, and I'd quite happily say it's one of my favourite films of all time. A lot of Republicans kicked off when it first came out, because the film's basically Christian Bale playing Dick Cheney. And the whole premise of the film is that this man was essentially the most powerful leader in the world. And he essentially was, because, Bush wasn't really calling the shots. Dick Cheney was. And the film kind of does a very loose retelling of how it happened, because that's the problem with these biopics. Like, you cannot sum someone's life up in 2 hours. It just ain't gonna happen. Of course it's going to be a dramatization. There's going to be a sort of omission of facts in order for the sake of plot. I tried reading the Dick Cheney book. It bored the shit out of me, I'm not gonna lie, because it wasn't written by him. It was written by someone that apparently knew him, so take that with a pinch of salt. But the film's absolutely tremendous. Let's grind this little bastard. There we go. And Christian Bale absolutely nails it. I don't know where I need to go to next. I'm in trouble. And yeah, I highly recommend people watch that film, because back in the day I could watch the same film over and over again. These days, like, I'll watch something, even if it's my favorite film, I'll watch it and then I'll give it 6 months before I watch it again. I was on the old ITV play, because sometimes you go through Netflix and you'll go through Amazon. You go through the whole lot. Everyone's got most of them, right? You got your Netflix, you got your Amazon Prime, you've got your Paramount Plus, Now TV, Disney Plus. It's just, the list never ends. And then you go on Amazon Prime, you go to click on something, it's like, sign up for free. You can watch this on a free trial, and it's like, I've got enough subscriptions, you cunts. You know what I mean? No wonder I'm broke. Let's go smoke the other part of this joint, because hang on a minute. I've been going for 36 minutes. I deserve a break. I'm going to be watching this through tomorrow when I'm not stoned, and I'm going to be like laughing my ass off. I mean, it's getting uploaded regardless. I don't give a fuck. I'm saying anything wrong. But I just wanted to get into that different brain state. I'm experimenting with this. It's like, not yesterday, 2 days ago when I recorded the first episode, now I was nervous, and now I was completely sober. I drank a couple of coffees, had a banana, and I was like, let's do this. And I walked away from it feeling somewhat ambivalent, because, I'm happy about the things I spoke about, but listening back to it, like I could tell I'm nervous, and I knew I had to get the first one out of the way, and I wasn't. I'm in the middle of a mission here. All right, let's. Where were we? So. Yeah, I felt quite ambivalent towards it, but it comes out on Monday. I'm doing these episodes quite quick, like one after the other. So even though they're being released weekly, I'm sort of trying to just stay ahead of it all, because I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this for. I'm going to be committing to this whole game, and then I've got an idea of what my next game's going to be. But I've got my audiobook coming out in 2 weeks, so that might take up some time. And like I said, I'm not really a gamer. I like to focus on working out. I like to focus on reading and writing, and I'm pretty eager to get started on my second book. The only reason I haven't started yet is because this audiobook's been quite demanding, and for the right reasons. I ain't complaining about it. I've learned so many things doing that. I've learned how to manage, different people from across the Atlantic Ocean. Because we're in the digital era now. You can do things through Zoom. You can do it through telephone, whatever it is, through social media, and it's decent, Work with all these different talents. Because initially, when I went into the project, I was going to take kind of a back seat and just let the talent figure out for themselves. But then I realized very quickly that things don't really work out that way. You have to intervene because it's your vision, it's your dream. It's my book. So of course I'm going to have my own way in my head how I thought it was going to be, because I wrote it. As I'm writing it, I've got these scenarios playing out in my head. So the characters looked a certain way, the scenarios played out a certain way. And I've got this guy, Dan Mather, who's narrating it, and he's done an absolutely tremendous job. I heard his voice initially by pure chance. I met him on LinkedIn, and I listened to him, and I was like, this is the voice I'm looking for. The funny thing is that initially, like when it came to the kind of voice I was looking for, the one voice that always, because I'm not really big on audiobooks, I couldn't give a shit. I just can't seem to focus. There's this thing called the VAC learning scale, where it measures like how you retain information best or learn things best. Is it through visual? All right. Is it through auditory? Is it through kinesthetic? Do you learn through seeing? Do you learn through hearing? Do you learn through doing things? That's what it measures. And I'm right at the top on kinesthetic and visual. Auditory, I'm terrible at. Looking back, it makes so much more sense why people got frustrated with me when I was a child. And I'm not blaming them. Some people are impatient, but other people, we're all human at the end of the day. We're all human. So we're bound to lose our patience. I've been a teacher. I've been a tutor in my life. Sometimes when it's a long day, you're just like, fuck me, this is brutal. Repeating yourself, But the point is that back in the 90s and the early noughties, it wasn't really a thing. No one had ever heard of a VAC learning scale, or whatever it's called, but, using that VAK method. And I'd be given instructions, and then I wouldn't retain them, because that's not how my brain, takes in information. It does it through seeing it and doing it. So I like reading, I like writing, because I'm using my eyes and I'm doing it. So that's why I don't get on with audiobooks. But I kind of stepped outside of myself and realized, fucking even this guy's getting bored. My bad. Let's get back to playing this game. It's crazy what you remember from school. School took up, you start school, 4 years of age? I mean, I know you do nursery and that, but that doesn't really count. That's just pissing your pants and playing on the little city playmat. You know what I mean? It's not much learning going on other than eat your fucking sandwich or you ain't getting your wagon wheel. That's all I learned in nursery. I remember crying my eyes out because they wouldn't let me eat my wagon wheel. I hated authoritarianism from day one. Fucking little, it's my wagon wheel, you cunts. Alright, what's this mission? I can't be asked to find them for myself, so I'm just going to click on them. Oh, revenge. Right, okay. Alright, just signs destroyed. Jeb Bush, the governor of Florida. It's weird, isn't it, how they're all in the same family? You know what I mean? George Bush, George Sr., fucking Jeb Bush. I'm sure there's loads of other ones. It's, one's watching Vice. You know what I mean? The Cheneys are all in politics. What's her name? Liz Cheney, Republican. Fucking goddamn it! What the fuck are you sketching that for? That's not what we're doing. No, I'm joking. It's just down the road. And what the fuck are we doing? That's not part of the plan. But yeah, it's nepotism at its finest. My girlfriend's talking about her work and that, and she's like, better not say anymore. But when you've got family working for one another, I don't think I'm against it or for it. Like, I'm all about meritocracy. You should be hired for the job based on your actual merits, like what your skills are, what you bring to the table. Like this whole fake it till you make it bullshit. I'm not against it. Like, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get your foot in the door, but you can only fake it for so long before you end up being fucking Leonardo DiCaprio and Catch Me If You Can. Do you concur? Isn't it so funny, like when someone calls you out on your bullshit and you're just like, I got nothing, bro. I got nothing left. You got me. Yeah, you live and you learn. I don't even really bullshit. Like, sometimes I do it out of instinct. You know what I mean? If I'm asked a question, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pretend I'm right. So I'll make some shit up. And if you make it sound convincing, don't stutter your words. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a second wave of that weed. So my dexterity has been hampered somewhat. So don't judge me on this experience alone. Oh, I remember now. Boosh. I said normally that I was going to do two levels an episode. Yes, please save the game. But pretty baked, so I think I'm just going to do this level. And then, but fucking why not? It's already 45 minutes. Still got about another 5-10 minutes left, and I still got some shit to talk about, so, Hit the old vape, get a bit of juice in me. When you're in a relationship, Sunday's like, mandatory, couples day, which is, I've got nothing against, you know what I mean? But, I've sort of climbed out my hole, so I'm more up for like doing shit and, going on an adventure, even if that adventure is just like hanging out with your girlfriend's friends, see what their perspective on the world is, have a conversation, you know what I mean? That's why I don't get those people that don't talk. I'm not saying like there's anything wrong. Like you're under no obligation to make conversation or interact with anyone. It's your life. But fucking just say hello back, you little dick. You know what I mean? That's all I'm asking for. Just acknowledge me as a fellow human being. I don't know. That came from somewhere deep. Let's do this one. Well, that's not a ramp. Whoops. Alright, cool, good, we're square with a house. But yeah, so, talking about this whole, smoke this joint a bit more. Like I said, I'm not a gamer, so don't get mad at me. I played video games as a child. But the problem with that is that had a glass ceiling on potential. It's all well and good being inspired by all these things from a youngster, but, I wish I'd read more, and don't get me wrong, I did read a lot, in junior school you go through this, like, colour label system, like each book would have, like, a label on it, so maybe I had, like, the same system as, like, I don't know, karate or jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, the belt system is similar. I remember brown and black were the last labels before you moved on to the library. And if you got past the black reading level, I think I was about year 5 when I basically completed that whole system. And it's like, all right, cool, you've unlocked the library. Well done, achievement unlocked. And it was on a Thursday afternoon. I fucking loved going to the library at school. Got to get yourself a book. Sometimes 2 books. Depends on if they liked you or not. Teachers were alright with me. They didn't get me. Fucking no one did. But that's fine, it's on the spectrum. Fuck it. But, I'd say some funny shit from time to time. Even at that age. Even if I didn't know. Sometimes I'd make people laugh and not know why they're laughing. I'd get awards for shit. And I was like, for what? You know what I mean? I wrote a poem one time, right? And I was just, like, copying my dad. I was 9 at the time. I was copying my dad with this poem. and it said nice things, but it didn't fucking really mean anything, right? But because I was 9, they just kissing my ass like, well done. Next thing you know, I'm getting presented an achievement award at the assembly in front of like 350 kids. Oh, fuck me, they actually read the poem out. Oh, God, that's just fucking cringe. I got awarded for being good at maths once, and it wasn't like even complicated maths. It was like I was really good at times and things. So I'll fucking give him a bit of paper then. Well done, mate. I never kept these awards. I think they actually got put on the fridge at one point, and then, you know, a year passes and something else goes on the fridge. But hey, such is life, you know. These influences, you know, it's the exact same thing. Whether you're assembly award, you know, stuck to a fridge, or the winner of fucking Love Island. I apologise for my swearing. I'll stop doing that now. Like my mother said, swearing is just lazy. And she's right, you know. Look, she's right and she's not right, and I'll explain why. Swearing's fine. It's fine. But any overuse of any word is irritating. So, that's my stance on it. It doesn't even have to be a swear word, just any word. But the point I'm making is, right, so these people who go on reality TV, it's Love Island this generation, but my generation, it was Big Brother, which is coming back. I don't know how it's going to work out. I'll check it out. I'll tell you why I'll check out Big Brother. Let me do a mission. I'll explain Big Brother. Let's do this. So yeah, with Big Brother, right, I learned this thing at college. And it's called the 4 stages of interaction. This is between groups. So it sounds kind of silly, but it's a really good way to remember things. So it's the 4 stages are forming, storming, norming, performing. All right, so stage 1, everyone's just getting together, the whole group forms. And you see this in the Big Brother house on day 1. Crowds cheering, your adrenaline's pumping, and everyone's getting fucking shit-faced. They're just, you know, they're on this show now. And it's going to be the experience of a lifetime, for better or worse. Oh, let's retry that, my bad. And all is well and good for those first day or 2, maybe 3 days at most. And but within about 2 days, they start to bicker. They start to go through that first conflict. Maybe people are hungover and moods are low because they miss their family for whatever reason. You know, people start nipping at each other over their idiosyncrasies and whatnot. And that's stage 2, you know, storming. And then, in predictable fashion, and this has happened on like most seasons of Big Brother, not even just Big Brother, whether it be I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out, pick your reality show, insert here. It's the same result, right? And then they all get drunk and they do a bit of team building, a bit of bonding. Next thing you know, they're getting drunk again and they're reconciling, right? That's the norming phase, stage 3. And then the last stage, they start performing as a team. And then it constantly relapses into stage 2 and then goes through the cycle again and again and again. But that's what it is. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating seeing how people have their faces that they wear. Oh, fuck me. You know, we all wear a face in those first interactions because we're taught as we get older to, you know, not put all the cards on the table. When we're children, we're so naive, but it's such a beautiful thing, you know. I think that's why a lot of people think, to be young again, you know, to be that ignorant. I think people miss being ignorant, and I don't blame them. I'm the same, you know. I do sometimes look back on certain moments in my life and think, fucking hell, to be that ignorant. What a luxury. Because, you know, it worked out fine. So I'm just making sure I'm concentrating so I'm not fucking... So I'm swearing again. Cut it out. Not saying I want this to be for kids, you know. I have no intention of that. The audience is the audience, but, you know, try and keep it PG-13, you know. But I've got one more mission to do, and then I think we're done with this level, and I'm going to wrap things up. I think I've said enough things. Listening back, sometimes, like, because I was drinking earlier with my girlfriend, you know, she had a hard day's work, and it's the weekend, we've got the day off tomorrow. So we thought, well, let's have a bottle of wine. Funny enough, I made her a fry up at 5 in the day. you know, but I'm good at making it, so she don't mind. People think it's disgusting, but I love black pudding. I put it in the oven too. I don't even fry it or grill it or nothing like that. It goes straight in the oven. Get it nice and soft. No redness on the inside. That's how it's done, like a pro. Alright, where's this next mission? And the sausages, mate, they get cremated. They're in there for 40 minutes. Alright, let's do this. And the beans, well, fuck the beans. They just go in the microwave, you know what I mean? They're more like an afterthought, you know? And then we're going to wrap this up. So this will be a slightly longer episode now. We're nearly on an hour. There you go. It's an hour. I don't care how bad I play, by the way. It's a game at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Just like life. Going back to that, it kind of comes full circle now with the whole simulation thing, you know? Who's to say that we don't get to the end of our lives and we just take off a fucking headset and we're just like, oh, look, oh, the whole thing was just drink. It's like, think about your regular dreams. In the moment, you're terrified or you're having the best time of your life, and then you wake up and you think, oh, none of it was real. Or was it? You know, I mean, some people got theories that, you know, dreams are parallel universes. And who's not to say, you know, I've experienced what's known as dream deja vu, where I'll be in a dream and I'll be like, I've been here before. But apparently that's the result of sort of a delay in your brain, like your left and your right. Apparently that's what I've had. And I think I've done this like to the most minimal standard possible, but I've done it. You know, saved the game. But yeah, I never thought I'd be doing this at my age. You know, that whole generation passed me by. Twitch and that started becoming a thing. Like, I don't know the exact year, but I remember seeing it kind of around mid 2015. I know it'd been going on before then, but that's when I started noticing it, and I didn't really care too much for it. I don't know if I've saved this game already or not, so I'm going to save it again. No, I didn't. And that shit all passed me by because I was focused on learning French and trying to move to another country and figure my shit out and write a book, and it just took years, you know. And then the old medicinal martial law happened, and which actually kind of, I made the best out of a bad situation with that one. And fortunately for me, I wasn't really in too much of a bad situation because I have so much respect for my mum. But I'll tell you what, trying to pick up weed during lockdown was special to say the least, and I'll tell you why. Because bearing in mind, I'm not talking about my politics on it, because I kind of said what I needed to say last time, and I'll elaborate on it on a future date. But because when you talk about that shit, you got to bring your A game. But yeah, so no one's allowed out really, and some police gave a shit, some didn't. My score wasn't very good that time. Still winning. But I remember going to my cousin's house, and he didn't drive, so he's like, right, you're going to take us over to this place and all that. And I get stoned with my other cousins on downstairs, him and his partner, and I get really stoned with them, and I hadn't smoked in a while either, because I hadn't any access to weed during lockdown really. And well, I better sort my shit out. And it was night time, and you drive and you're thinking, fuck, right, we picked up the weed and all that. I don't know how much he's carrying, but I thought the cops can just pull us over just because we're out. How mental's that? And that really played on my mind. But eventually I bit the bullet and just did it, and it was fine. But oh fuck, it was brutal. You know what? It's a start. You know, I'm much happier with like the shit I've been saying. I know I've been like mumbling and I've been a bit incoherent and a bit clumsy here and there, but overall I've just had a good time. So you don't know until you try, do you? Well, that'll be a decent score. 88,000, yeah. This is why I'm playing on easy mode. I'm so glad I chose this mode. That'll do. Yeah, just hang here for a bit. Oh, that reminds me, man. I've got this friend called Pete. He comes to my gym, and he's a real calisthenics kind of guy. You know, he'll get the TRX ropes out, and one time he had like separate hands in TRX ropes and his feet in separate TRX ropes. It was so funny. He was just hanging like Tom Cruise in the first Mission Impossible. And I just walked past him. I was like, "Hey, Pete, how's it, how's it hanging?" You know what I mean? Just being a dick. And this woman next to me just fucking burst out laughing. I think that's my favorite thing in this life, is making strangers laugh that aren't part of the conversation. Well, let's do this last one. And then get a bit. It's only 10:05. Fucking what am I doing? Right. I gotta do another round of this shit. Alright, here we go, and I'm done. I'll do. So, yeah, so we're pretty much bringing this to a close now. Oh, fucking, this shit's not over. This is me doing my little Jerry Springer little epilogue, and it was for nothing. Is that enough to win? I think so. Well, I need to start whipping out some specials. So, like, with normal mode, it wasn't, Alright, what are the specials? View tricks. There we go. Flip. Oh, no, specials. Oh, I better wrap this shit up because, Saturday night, what do you expect? And the round was just going on for ages because, like, I did like one little combo because it's on easy mode. I did one combo and it's like I'd won it, like, and it's like, what? Couldn't I just end the goal? But yeah, whatever. That's the problem with easy mode. You can just do like manuals and rack up a high score, do some flips. Boom. There we go. Sound. I don't think he's going to get that score, so just chill out for like 10 seconds. Smoke the rest of that joint, so great way to end the night.